respect African societies and their values.
There's no Western leader that has been in office as long as you have.
Do I care about that?
We have made the decision that it is not intelligent for 54 of us to go and sit before one gentleman from another place. And
there are all those technicalities that are just stupid. What's needed is complete separation. France has got to get out of Africa, really, honestly. Enough is enough.
Russia remains South Africa's friend. So we cannot create confusion around there. Don't create an impression that it is Malema who's going to come and create an alliance. Russia is in a war with imperialism.
IMF, World Bank, all other institutions, they make African countries jump through hoops. Loans will never be able to pay. The US, when they borrow money, they're getting it in 1.5, 1.9 interest rate. Africans, when they get the same amount of money, they're paying 9, 10%. The people who don't need a break, they get a break. The ones who need a break, they don't get a break.
Be careful what you wish for, because I may show up.
African leaders have finally found their voice and are asserting themselves in the murky waters of international relations, where the global north and Western media have set the agenda for decades since independence. Take a look.
I bring you greetings from your 1.27 billion brothers and sisters on the continent.
Dr. Arikana Chihombori, medical doctor, educator, public speaker, and diplomat. Dr. Chihombori is the former permanent representative of African Union to the United States. Arikana has been a vigorous voice on the need for the West to respect African sovereignty, often calling out Western nations for the exploitation of Africa and its vast resources.
These countries are very capable of negotiating their own deals. Their funds don't have to go through the French central bank. Even countries wanting to trade with African countries, they don't have to go through French central bank. So there are all those technicalities that are just stupid. What's needed is complete separation. France has got to get out of Africa, really, honestly. Enough is enough. To take $500 billion out of Africa, I mean, it is insanity of the highest order. In countries that are supposedly poor, and making those countries fund French education, French healthcare system, create jobs for French youth while we are struggling in our country. It's no longer sustainable. President Macron needs to wake up and smell the coffee.
She has severally demanded that Africa be treated as an equal partner at the global stage, while the global north have tended to hold sway on matters of international concern.
But there's a significance of them who automatically assume that Africans do not know what they're doing. Africans need help. Africans need to be told what to do. And racism is also at the bottom of it all. We need to address the individuals who are going to be visiting Africa, engaging Africa. They must understand that Africans are equal to them. But when one goes to Africa with a sense of superiority, wherein lies the problem, because you are not going to engage those leaders who are going to come to the table as equals. You go in feeling superior, you come back feeling superior. That is not an issue with the Chinese. The Chinese are coming in. The Chinese, yes, if you don't negotiate with them and they win the game, then that's your fault. But they don't come in feeling superior. They understand that Africa has something they need. So they will come to the Africans. They will come and make sure that they let the Africans know that you matter to us.
Mon pays se définit comme un pays solution grâce à son bassin forestier qui est l'un des plus...
Felix Tshisekedi of Congo. President Felix Tshisekedi, son of a former Congolese politician and former Prime Minister Etienne Tshisekedi. President Tshisekedi has recently rebuked French President Emmanuel Macron over his nation's foreign policies on Africa.
Ça aussi, ça doit changer dans la manière de coopérer avec la France et l'Europe. Regardez-nous autrement, en nous respectant, en nous considérant comme de vrais partenaires, et non pas toujours avec un regard paternaliste, avec l'idée de toujours savoir ce qu'il faut pour nous, et non pas pour...
Si le président Tshisekedi m'y autorise, je voudrais apporter un commentaire au commentaire. Je m'explique. Parce que le président a parlé de la France en répondant à la question. Quand un ou une journaliste française pose une question, ça n'est pas le gouvernement de la France. Et c'est bien comme ça. Mais il ne faut pas tout confondre.
Non,
parce que, non, mais ce n'est pas une position de la France.
Je faisais allusion...
Parce qu'il n'y a pas de... Il y en a eu.
Je faisais allusion au propos de Le Drian. Lui, il est officiel français.
Oui, mais...
Le compromis à l'africaine, c'est Le Drian, ce n'est pas la journaliste.
C'est exact, mais ce compromis... Mais cette formule, Président...
Tshisekedi's views and French comments on Congo capture the sentiments of a majority of Africa, challenging France's imperial escapades in Africa since relinquishing direct colonial rule. Tshisekedi personifies a new crop of African leaders who are fearlessly speaking their minds, calling upon the West to respect Africa rather than treat Africa as the recipients of tokenism and alms. Julius Malema, president of EFF, the Economic Freedom Fighters Party, a firebrand who distinguished himself as a young leader against racism and exploitation in apartheid South Africa.
Do you think aligning yourself with Vladimir Putin is going to be good for South Africa?
But that's what it is now. South Africa is in alliance with Russia, with India, with Brazil, with China. So why are you asking me as if it's some policy that is going to be implemented
South Africa right
after
now.
I took over? South Africa is in alliance with Russia now.
South Africa right now calls itself non-aligned.
In the context of the war, but these are two different things. South Africa is an ally of Russia. Now, the second question is, where does South Africa stand on the war? It says I'm a non-aligned in relation to war, but Russia remains South Africa's friend. So we cannot create confusion around there. Don't create an impression that it is Malema who's going to come and create an alliance with Russia.
But there are some very specific...
Actually, I will
go
go beyond that. I will go beyond the friendship with Russia, and in the war, I will align with Russia, and I will even supply the weapons to Russia. Because Russia is in a war with imperialism, and any agenda that seeks to push back imperialist agendas, it's well within the policies of the EFF.
South Africa has heavily been admonished by the West for aligning with Russia in the Ukraine conflict. But Malema has boldly accused the West of playing double standards in relation to war crimes.
Tony Blair accepted that they were wrong about Saddam Hussein to an extent that he did an apology of a thug, right? You have never called for his arrest.
Many African nations are signatories to the Rome ICC statute, while America is not.
A warm reception for the Kremlin's top diplomat Sergei Lavrov.
Naledi Pandor, South Africa's Minister for International Relations and Cooperation, has robustly called out the West on their double standards for criticizing our country's relationship with Russia amidst the Russia-Ukraine war.
I think this notion of international rules is very comfortable for some people to use when it suits them, but they don't believe in international rules when it doesn't suit them, because they don't apply international rules or law equally in all circumstances. So you can't say because Ukraine has been invaded that suddenly sovereignty is important, but it was never important for Palestine. But in terms of our interaction with some of our partners in Europe and elsewhere, there has been a sense of a patronizing bullying toward you choose this or else. And the recent legislation passed in the United States of America by the House of Representatives, we found a most unfortunate bill that we'd hope the media would say more about, because when we believe in freedom, as I'm saying, it's freedom for everybody. You can't say because Africa is doing this, you will then be punished by the United States. So that's been a disappointing passage of legislation by one house, and we hope the other house will not agree to such offensive legislation.
Pandor has rebuked the West for selectively applying rules of international relations, cherry-picking whatever works for them, insisting that the rules of international law be respected and applied equitably across board for the sake of justice and equality for all humanity.
Let's be honest, it's doing terribly.
Ghana's Nana Akufo-Addo, a barrister of long standing and politician, Nana has vigorously opposed the Western LGBTQ agenda as an imposition against African culture and social norms, citing it as not a priority for the Ghanaian people.
I have said this before, and let me in conclusion stress again that it will not be under the presidency of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo that same-sex marriage will be legal. That same-sex marriage will be legalized in Ghana. It will never happen in my time as president.
Hage Geingob, President of Namibia. The West's constant challenge of China's presence in Africa is hinged on their failure to maintain a hold on Africa and its vast resources. Namibia's president recently rebuked Germany's Norbert Lammert of the German Bundestag for his remarks on Chinese presence in Namibia, a former colony of Germany.
Whereas in Namibia, for example, the number of Chinese people living here in the meantime is 4 times as much as, for example, the German community. And insofar, it's not precisely the same what takes place all over the world. There are differences. And what I'm...
Mr. Speaker, yeah. What is your problem with that? Why does it become your problem? It looks like it's a more European problem than our problem. Yeah. You are so sorry for us. I don't see... Chinese will never come and play around here. As Germans not allowed to do that, which Germans are doing, by the way. You talk about Chinese. We allow Germans to come offer visas here. Red carpet. Our people are harassed in Germany. Even diplomatic passport holders in Germany. And you come in here, Germans come in here as they want. So why Chinese talk about Germans? How you are treating us there? Chinese don't treat us like that. Diplomatic passport. We're coming back from Geneva. These people were held up at the airport. Just now, last week, in Germany. We know what we will handle our own country. Don't be sorry for us.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Highlighting the need for the West to stop dictating Africa's alliances, a shift from former President George Bush's suggestion that their enemy is an enemy to those they are allied to. President William Samoei Ruto of Kenya, first-time presidential candidate who battled in court to finally capture the coveted seat. President Ruto has emerged as a fearless critic of the West playing Big Brother, citing the invitation of African heads of states as a demeaning practice void of meaningful results, and instead undermining African nations' sovereignty.
We have also decided that it will not going to be business as usual. We have these meetings, Africa-US meeting, Africa-Europe, Africa-Turkey, Africa...
India.
Now we are waiting for, there is another one, Africa-Russia.
And Africa-Japan.
And Africa-Japan. We have made the decision that it is not intelligent for 54 of us to go and sit before one gentleman from another place and I mean, and sometimes we are mistreated.
Yeah.
You know, we are loaded into buses like school kids.
President Ruto has also called for the creation of new organizations that would respect the position of African nations and equitably share the global cake, respecting the autonomy of African leaders and their citizens.
We want those resources controlled not by IMF and World Bank, because IMF and World Bank, you have the final say. We don't have no say. We want another organization of equals, where you have as much say because you pay, as much as we do because we also pay. That's the organization we are looking for. And that is why we are saying we need a new financial architecture, where governance, where power is not on the hands of a few people. We can agree on the governance of the institution. We can agree on the sharing of power. This is what we are saying, and we would appreciate a little understanding. We want to be, you know, we are talking the normal. If we continue talking the normal, Emmanuel, we will never solve this problem. Things are not going forward, they're going backwards. Tokenism, installment will not solve this problem. We have a much bigger problem than the installment we are discussing here will solve. You're not hearing us.
I will, if I may, I will answer you.
Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, M7 as he is fondly referred to. Museveni is a grandfather of African politics. Often criticized for his long stay in office, Museveni has been steadfast on his stance against the LGBTQ question, imploring the values of Africa's cultural heritage and presiding over the introduction of laws against the practice.
Respect African societies and their values. If you don't agree, you just keep quiet. Let's manage our society the way we see. If we are wrong, we shall find out by ourselves. Just the way we don't interfere with yours.
Do you personally dislike homosexuals?
Of course, they are disgusting.
And finally, Rwanda's Paul Kagame. Paul Kagame of Rwanda, president since a genocide that nearly annihilated the Rwandan society. Kagame has emerged as a strong African voice against neo-colonialism and Western media agenda pandering to the global north.
There's no Western leader that has been in office as long as you have.
Do I care about that?
Because
the Western leader is a Western leader.
Because electorates normally throw people out. The nature of electorates and democracies is that people get tired of it and they move to another person.
That is if you are telling me, you know, that everyone has to conform to what the West tells us to do. I'm not one of those people. The Western world is a world on its own. It has many good things that they do. It has many bad things they do.
There's no democratically elected leader in a generally accepted democracy that has been in office as long as you.
Democracy is not defined by the West. No. If it does, then what happens of the contradictions that happen in the West? Where we find the countries in the West, they elect their leaders, and then they turn around and start complaining about the same leaders they have elected. So you are telling me democracy, therefore, has imperfections, whether it is in the West or anywhere else. So, but I cannot live by or live the imperfections of the West.
Can these leaders cohesively assert their agenda and make meaningful change in the global arena? Please share your thoughts in the comments section below, and let's have a debate and see where Africa can take its agenda in the coming decades. Remember to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't. And many thanks for watching. This is definitely Can You Fix It? See you in the next video. I'm out.
If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much for your support.